It is one of the most important topic that all youth and everybody needs to understand. We consistently miss out from 10th, 12th standard on to medical education, anything and everything about finance. And the biggest thing is doctors are financially absolutely illiterate. This is one place, the moment you start earning your first rupee from your internship, that is where you need to start investing. And if you are getting your piggy bank, just as Warren Buffett did, way back from the age of 10 to 12, teach your children how to start investing. It could be 5 rupees, it could be 50 rupees, it could be 100 rupees. But that 100 or 1,000 rupees 30 years back would have made you a multi-million to retire by now. And what is financial freedom? That is financial freedom. We have only been taught to struggle more hard, to work more hard. The only way to do that is to keep doing that. But we never really learned the principle of investing or making money work for money. You know, we have to start this to see that everybody has to become financially independent. As I used to say in my talks earlier, that first on the tax-paid money which you earn, you buy your property for your clinic. Then you start buying equipments. And once you buy property and you buy equipment, you take a loan from the bank. Once you take a loan from the bank, you take insurance. That if something happens to you, you will have to see that you're covered up. So which means you are earning for the banks, you are earning for the equipment manufacturers, you are earning for the builders. You have already committed for the next 25 years because you have taken a loan of 20 years. All future earnings are committed to them. And on that, top of that, you will pay taxes. And baki kuch bacha to महंगाई मार गई. This is how it is. You know, most people don't realize the debt trap that we are getting into. But one thing certain, that whatever happens, wars, epidemics, endemics, pandemic, all of them, medicine and doctors will survive. That is some basic bottom line answer that everybody can get through. Most doctors would have been very good in IIT, IIM also, but fortunately they chose to still work for the society and do something better, not just make money. They could have been in any business school and they could have been far sharper and smarter than the other guys. The amount of dissection we done at post-graduation level and the fellowships and all, I doubt if anybody does that. You know, a small analyst analyzing one company seems to be a very smart guy than a guy doing a subluxated cataract or, you know, we have undervalued ourselves. But to get an honest opinion, how can we go ahead in life? How can we make ourselves better and financially stable? Because everybody is worried about future of children's education, their own retirement plan, parents. You know, it comes a stage in life that most financial guys at 30, 35 are beginning to retire. And a poor ophthalmologist is beginning to just start his career to understand what medicine is about 30, 32. And he has to take care of his parents, he has to take care of his property that he has to buy, he has to take care of equipments.
Sir, we welcome our first speaker, Dr. Mohan Rajan, a distinguished ophthalmic surgeon, a specialist in the anterior and posterior segment. He, along with his wife, are the chairman and the medical directors of the Rajan Eye Care Hospital, Chennai. As most of us are just starting out, we all would like to know how to set up your private practice as an individual investor and sustain it over all the years to come. We have Dr. Mohan Rajan giving his pearls of wisdom.
So I'm going to talk to you in the next 10 minutes or so about how to sustain your practice as an individual investor. These are my financial interests. You are the boss. As far as individual investor is concerned, you are answerable, accountable, and it should be available for any problem because you are investing and you are responsible for everything. So the 3 A's always you think. As you all know, ophthalmology is a very high-tech field, high investment because of technology-based field. Returns depend on many factors. For example, the cost of the phaco average is 10 lakhs. You have to pay an interest of 2 lakhs. LASIK leads at 2 crores. Interest of about 40 lakhs. Green leads at 20 lakhs. 4 lakhs. So all these insurance, the interest and all these things add up to your cost. Now look back at the master. The masters are Shankar Netralaya, Arvind, Center for Sight, Agarwal, Eye Foundation. Please understand one important thing. All the above institutions when started was started by an individual investor. When started as an individual investor and then became an empire like this, take their positives, take their negatives as well. And that's where I think you should stand when you sing. First step is to plan. Know your strength and weaknesses as well. Your capabilities. What are the core competent areas? If you are an anterior segment, don't invest in your posterior segment. That somebody else can take care of that. That is what you need to know your strength and weakness. Population in your practicing area, demand of tertiary eye care, and the competitor. So planning is very, very, very important in the stage one. Equipment and infrastructure very, very important because as you know, ophthalmology is a rapidly changing field And after 1 year, the equipment becomes a white elephant. As you all know, it becomes obsolete. What is required and what is essential is important. Match your demand and supply. Always buy an upgradable machine rather than spending in an older version. The investment made on the equipment should be in a competitive price. Always check the returns on investments. The ROI. The ROI is a mantra I want to give. The return of investments. Spend time on the expertise, the technology, the manpower, human resources. The human resources management is very important. I'm going to talk about it a little more detail because that is going to drain a lot of your money. Infrastructure management also. The 4 mantras, the return on investments, ROI, only necessary equipment, cost cutting. Always look at the cost benefit ratio. Suppose I buy a OCT, how much income I'll get. Okay, if you buy an equipment within 2 years, you should be able to take care of the cost of the equipment. And that is what you have to plan ahead. You see, excellent infrastructure, a building, front office, ambience, decor, inpatient rooms, consultation room, all these are very, very important. Opticals and pharmacy is something which everybody has to concentrate on. Okay, it's something like backwardation, which I'm going to talk about, wherein the opticals and pharmacy, because you're going to have very high profit margins in that. So invest in the opticals and pharmacy because you're going to get the best returns on the investment. Best technology, of course, LensStar, IOL Master, A-Scan, Retina Laser, everything is available. The availability, round the clock, 24/7, 365, doctor must be reachable at any point of time. Accessibility over the phone or the message. Now, all different types of communications are available. Affordability, the 3 A's, the cost of every procedure is done, surgery, etc. should be over. Making a presence felt. You can't do advertisements like the corporate. You can do advertisement like the word of mouth. The word of mouth is very, very important and effective, but takes time. That is one patient, satisfied patient, going and getting about 5 or 10 patients or even 100 patients for that matter. Okay, making a presence felt, the TV, radio, newspapers. Personal touch is very important. Treating the patient, compassion and empathy, which you have got as an individual investor and as a whole practice is very, very important. So again, you can see here the patient satisfaction is very, very important. Increase the profitability and 3 to 4 times more cost to get a new patient than to have an old patient who's satisfied. And these patients become the brand ambassadors for you. Digital marketing now, because of the COVID era, everybody is pushing into the digital marketing, the social media, nearby location, all these patient testimonials are very, very important. Access to sub speciality. Okay, you don't have to have all the sub specialties when you are individual. Access to sub speciality. Refer for example, oculoplasty, retinal care, or whatever it is, because you don't have to invest everything. Because if you're going to invest in everything, the return on investment is not going to be very good. Charity work. This is also going to give back a lot of income. So I'm going to give you just 10 points and stop my top. That pay upfront, best discount. By paying the amount upfront, we can pay the bargain, the best deal. The companies be able to give maximum discount for the products. And deferred payment, seed money, payment in installments for 3 to 4 years, no interest, cross-check with the colleagues and previous users, take the veterans' opinion on this deferred payment, like the LensR or whatever, the Catalyst or whatever you're taking, the bigger missions. Leasing is also a valid option, but depends on the product to be brought. Case-to-case basis is very, very important. Best option for a best deal is bundling of the IOLs, bundling of other products of the manufacturer, and you can always go in for a bundling for the catalyst with the lenses or whatever it is. Group purchase, and I'm sure I think Quresh is going to talk about it. Joining with other colleagues who are like-minded, 10 to 20. Sharing of the OT and equipment. That is going to sustain your practice. Your OT, because you're going to use the OT in the morning, afternoons, or evenings, the OT is going to be free. Make sure that optimal use of the operation theater, the OR, the equipments also is done by the other ophthalmologists who cannot invest in this technology. Manufacturer, selecting the right manufacturer is the best trick. The manufacturer company should be leading all required products. For example, Appaswamy, Alcon, Zaid, they have not only the phaco machines, they have the lasers, they have the IOLs, they got everything. Few companies deal with the refractive cataract equipments, vitreoretinal machines. So go for those companies wherein we can get a good deal as well. Crack the best deal when we buy many products with maximum discounts as well. Increase volume, like the CFS, the Aravind Eye Hospital, the Helvi Prasad, the Shankar Netralaya, assured guarantee of minimum purchase. The bulk purchase is very, very important. Be a brand ambassador. You be a speaker, machines, products for the companies, designated ambassador for specific brands, life surgeon, above the best tricks to crack the best deals from the companies as well. Always look at the competitor. Ask for the rock bottom price. And you tell the company that equal competitor are giving better deal. So always striking a deal, this competitor is very, very important. And brand name is also, your brand name itself is your USP. Your name itself is your unique selling proposition. Certain companies sell their products offered by quoting that so-and-so hospital using the products and your brand name. Of course, the AMC, CMC, annual maintenance contract, the comprehensive maintenance contract, all these come into the thing. I want to talk about this backwardation. The backwardation is something which you can sustain in practice. Take, for example, the Reliance Textile Group. They are making the nylon and the petro products, and they have the market for that, the distributor and the customer for that. For example, the backwardation is there in the Aravind Eye Hospital as well. You have the free surgeries and the cataract and the free the IOL sutures, the viscoelastics are done and marketed through the Oro Lab, and they create their own market. Something like this, you can create your own market, even if you are also individual investor. Like, for example, we have created our own market. We have developed different, for example, the iBank, the charity work, the Chennai Vision Charitable Trust, the training programs, the fellowship in optometry, and the ophthalmic nursing assistant program. And all these are adjuvants, are supplements to the entire arm of Rajan Eye Care, which will be able to sustain your practice because you're doing FACO training program that will give you income. And that is also charity is one important thing which will sustain your practice as well as an individual investor. Know your balance sheet. Human resource management is very important. Work environment is very important. Team players are very important. Motivate the staff. Disaster funds is something I learned during the COVID thing, especially always allocate certain amount, for example, 2% or 3% or 5% of your profit as disaster funds. Especially when you have a pandemic like this, nobody expected a pandemic like this. You can make use of this disaster funds and during this crisis or whenever there is a calamity. The 3 I's: invest wisely, introspect, in-depth analysis. Introspect always, in-depth analysis of your thing. Strategy is strengthen staff, teamwork, rapport, advertisement and publicity, total dedication, efficiency, goodwill, and human service. Differentiate yourself, have a USP, have a brand, have the best technology. Do not fear competition. Do not grow on the others' weaknesses. Grow on your strength. Be better than the best. Be the best in your field. Be bold. Think big. And lead. Never follow. Thank you very much, IRSI, for this wonderful opportunity. Stay home. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Thank you very much.
Those were some great pearls given by Dr. Mohan Rajan. Thank you, sir, for those great pearls. I would like to ask Dr. Mahipal, sir, for his thoughts on this.
I think Mohan, as always, makes the point with great emphasis, and I think what he has said is pretty much in sync with what I think or what majority of the people think. One particular aspect which is lacking from all of us is that often, because the next door neighbor has purchased an eczema or a femtocataract or something like that, you would say that, well, I need a spectralis retina person will come out and say that this is the thing, and you make investments of 1 crore or 2 crores or 3 crores. And at the end of the day, you don't calculate the return on investment. So one of the things that the investors have taught me is essentially that whenever you are making a particular investment, whether it's opening a new center or whether it's opening or putting up a new equipment, etc., you should always sit down. The one important thing for any individual is to not keep the nebulous thoughts in your brain. Put it on paper. So whenever you are writing, say, a scientific paper, the most difficult part to write is the abstract or the initial, what sums up everything. That is the most difficult part to write. So you have to say that please put your thoughts on one page, only one page. You don't need to write an essay. You condense your thoughts and put it onto a paragraph or a page. And that will actually crystallize your thoughts. The best thing that does is that it crystallizes your thought. Otherwise, दिमाग में कुछ है, you say कि भाई हाँ ये करूँगा, but at the end of it, you distillate it and put it down on paper as to what exactly are you going to achieve, what is the hypothesis on which you are working. If I am saying that I have to put a femtocataract, like a lot of people made the mistake that to be differential, to differentiate themselves from others, they will just put up a femtocataract and that will make their practice grow. But they never put the numbers on the table as to how many cataracts a person is doing, how many of them are premium surgeries, and how many of them can be upgraded. So there has to be a testing thing that has to happen. And after doing this test, then only you should make an investment. Similarly, as Mohan said that if you are not good in retina, or you have to have retina for sake of completion. So there are certain things that if, like you go to a grocery store, in a grocery store, just for completion, they will keep a bread and they will keep an anda and things like that, because that is for completing the whole array. You cannot go to a store and say that I don't have this, even though they are not making money or profit. So, but you should not be losing money on them. So that is the most important thing. If your strength does not lie in a high-end, say a Heidelberg system, or it does not angio-OCT or whatever it is, it does not lie there, or a high-class vitrectomy machine. Supposing you are doing only 3-4 vitrectomy, does it make sense to put a high-end vitrectomy machine when you know nothing about retina or a VR surgery? Yes, you should have a retina thing. You should have something for completion. And if there are VR surgeries, you could possibly tie up with somebody else. And as things evolve, you should invest in that. So what Mohan has said is very, very important, that you need to look at return on investment and the hypothesis as to where you are going to do. I will also talk about in my talk that you need to plan and put it on paper, and you have to forecast 5 years down the line. You may be absolutely wrong, but you need to put it on paper as to where you would be 5 years down the line. I distinctly remember that when I left All India Institute of Medical Sciences, there was somebody who was willing to invest with me, and the first thing he told me was that, okay, you make a business plan. We don't make a business plan because this is something that you come that, theek hai, maine ophthalmology kari, I have to go into this, but you need to make a business plan, and you have to see the various scenarios as to where you are and what you want to do. And mind you, I also made a business plan. It may be totally wrong. As in my case, it was totally wrong. I made a business plan and I said that I will be able to recover the investment in 3 years time or 5 years time. And I said that I will be doing 30 phacos a month end of third year. And believe me, the first day I sat into practice, I booked a phaco, and within the first month, I did 39 phacos. So that was how grossly wrong I was, but it doesn't make any difference. The point is, at least you had put it on paper. You could be wrong on the other side, and you could be wrong on the like on a downside, and you could be wrong on the upside. But then you need to critically evaluate as to what was your plan and what went wrong. Whenever you have a thesis that this is what I am going to do, you have to test it. उसको जितना बोलते हैं ठोक बजा के देखना है कि भाई ये is it successful or not. If I go today and set up a practice, say next to where Arvind Eye Care is, it's say in Chennai, will it not be disaster? The point is that population, study, strengths, weakness, city, location, everything has to be studied as to what it is and where you have to do, because and then you need to make a 5-year plan. That is the most important thing that you have to do, because success lies in planning, and plan A, plan B. You have to have a plan A. If plan A does not succeed, you need to have a fallback plan of plan B. That is the most important thing. Often, bhav mein aake we say, okay, we will make an investment, we'll do this, we'll see. Not necessarily everything needs to be gold plated. Yes, there are things which can be gold plated, which you think can be gold plated because there is competition. But then, are you burning yourself out by gold plating? The point is that I can go and set up a practice in Khan Market, for example, where the rental is 1,500 rupees a square foot. And I can gold plate everything like a bull jarab or whatever it is. So you can actually gold plate everything, but will it translate into returns? So that is very, very important, that being realistic, being where you want to be, but also I would say that at times you have to take a risk and there has to be a dream. So you have to kind of match these two things, but just putting down on paper as to where you are, because I know we have drawn a 5-year plan. Whenever an investor comes into your company, he will say, tell me where you will be 5 years down the line. So that is something very, very important for you youngsters to actually plan, and then strategize, and then go and launch yourself. Otherwise, rest of the things, whatever Mohan has said, I think it's a fantastic presentation, and I think different things have come out of it. Thank you.
Can I add one word, Rohan?
Yes, sir.
Or, yeah. No, fantastic golden words from Maipal, from the best guy in this business. But I just want to tell you, the rule of the thumb is that if you're going to see approximately 100 patients a day, then probably you will end up in 100 surgeries a month. Yes. So this is the rule of the thumb. So you plan accordingly. As Maipal said, do an introspection on what you do. The in-depth analysis, as I told very, very clearly, you need to know exactly and plan. Okay, I'm seeing 100 patients a day. I will do 100 surgeries a month, approximately. Then you go backwards or go forward based on that figure. So, fall in line.
Rohan, what Mohan has said is absolutely correct. I think this is a rule of thumb which applies across India. 100 OPDs a day translates to 100 surgeries a month. That is an approximate rule of thumb. You have to evaluate yourself whether you are a surgical center or a medical center. And a surgical center and a medical center depends upon the conversion rate. Have you ever studied the conversion ratios that happen? You have to study that.
Yep.
Ideally, you should have a good surgical center should be anywhere between 8 to 14% conversion. That means for every new footfall that comes into your center, 14% of them should be surgical patients. Then you call yourself a surgical center.
Oh, yeah.
Like some of our centers, say Saftarjung Enclave, we know that it is a surgical center. A person with a Khujli Pani will not come to say Lalit Verma or to Dinesh Talwar or Harsh Kumar or Maipal Sajdev to pay 1800 rupees to get a consult. वो चश्मे के लिए नहीं आएंगे. They will be somebody who will be referred to you or who would have made up their mind, who has been diagnosed as a cataract or a glaucoma or a retinal detachment, and they will come straight away seeking a surgical thing. So therefore,
come with the diagnosis.
Yeah, they come with a diagnosis written with this, few people have seen. So therefore, you are a surgical center.
Yes.
While some of the peripheral centers which we have opened, when we open initially, you are a medical center where your percentage of conversion would be 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%. And over the years, you have to gradually move on to see that your conversion rate is increasing into surgeries. That is because your bread and butter is surgery. Your bread and butter is not OPD. And the next bread and butter is opticals and pharmacy, as Mohan rightly said.